Ladies and gentlemen, let's be honest for a moment. Our homes tell the story of our lives. Every picture frame, every chair, every little decoration is a memory we've collected along the way. But sometimes, without even realizing it, those stories start to pile up. Instead of feeling peaceful, our homes begin to feel heavy, cramped, and yes, cluttered. And after 60, isn't it time our space lifted us up instead of weighing us down? Today, let's talk about 6 things that may be making your home look cluttered after 60, and how letting go of them can make room for freedom, comfort, and joy. Before we begin, if you have not subscribed to my channel yet, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you never miss any video. Number 1, too much furniture. Think about how it feels to walk into a wide, open room where the sunlight pours in through the windows, and there's enough space to breathe. Now, compare that to a room where every corner is filled with chairs, tables, cabinets, and shelves. The difference isn't just in how the room looks, it's in how it makes you feel. Too much furniture can quietly transform your home from a place of calm into a place of congestion. Over the years, it's only natural to accumulate furniture. A chair from your parents' home, a side table from an old apartment, a cabinet you once loved but no longer use. Each piece holds a memory, so you keep it. But here's the truth, when your home becomes crowded with furniture, it stops being a living space and starts feeling like a storage room. And after 60, you deserve better than to feel trapped in your own home. Imagine your living room. Do you have 2 or 3 chairs that no one ever sits in, you keep just in case guests come over? Or maybe you've held onto a dining table that can seat 12, even though most meals are shared with just 2 or 3 people now. These extra pieces take up room you could be using for freedom of movement, easy cleaning, simply enjoying the openness of your space. Let me give you an example. I once knew a woman who had 3 coffee tables in her living room. 3! Each one was beautiful in its own way, but together they created a maze she had to navigate just to sit down. When she finally let go of 2 of them, she said something remarkable. "I feel like I can breathe in my own home again." That's the gift of space. It gives you back energy you didn't even know you were losing. Too much furniture doesn't just clutter a room visually, it also restricts your life physically. Narrow walkways make it harder to move around comfortably, especially if balance or mobility is a concern. And more surfaces mean more dust, more cleaning, and more stress. The irony is, the very furniture we thought would make our homes cozy ends up making them feel cramped and heavy. So, how do you fix it? Start with a simple question. Do I use this piece regularly, or am I keeping it out of habit? If it's the latter, consider letting it go. Keep the sofa you curl up on to watch movies. Keep the dining table you use every day. Keep the chair that makes you feel at ease. But free yourself from the extras that just take up space. When you choose fewer, more meaningful pieces, your home suddenly feels bigger, lighter, and more welcoming. And that's the beauty of decluttering. It's not about losing comfort, it's about gaining freedom. After all, a chair you never sit in isn't comfort. It's just clutter, old paper piles. Paper has a sneaky way of piling up in our homes. At first, it doesn't seem like much. Yesterday's mail, a magazine you wanted to read later, a bill you meant to file away. But little by little, the stacks grow taller, spreading across the dining table, the kitchen counter, the nightstand. Before long, the room feels less like a comfortable home and more like an office that never got organized. What's worse, those piles don't just take up space on your furniture, they also take up space in your mind. Think about how it feels to sit down at a table that's covered in paper. Even if you're not consciously reading what's there, your eyes notice it. Your brain registers it. That mess whispers. You have things to do, tasks unfinished. And that constant reminder creates stress, even when you think you're ignoring it. A cluttered table becomes a cluttered mind. Many of us hold on to papers because we believe we'll need them later. Receipts, bank statements, warranties for appliances we no longer own. These papers quietly stay with us, long past their usefulness. And yet, the thought of throwing them away feels risky. What if we need that one page someday? But here's the reality: most of the paper we keep never gets used again. Instead, it just weighs us down, both physically and emotionally. I once met a man who had 20 years worth of magazines stacked in his study. He was saving them because there were important articles he wanted to read. When asked if he ever went back to those magazines, he smiled and admitted he hadn't touched a single one. Eventually, he decided to recycle them, keeping only a small handful of issues with sentimental value. The day after, he described his study as 10 pounds lighter. That lightness wasn't just about the space on the floor. It was about the burden lifted off his shoulders. So how do we deal with paper clutter? The answer is to keep only what matters. Important documents like legal papers, medical records, or tax files should be organized in a single, easy-to-find place. Everything else can either be recycled, shredded, or digitized. Technology today makes it simple to scan and store documents on your computer, freeing your tables and shelves. Imagine opening your drawer and finding only neatly labeled folders instead of a mountain of random papers. Imagine sitting at a clean table with nothing but a fresh cup of tea and maybe a book you actually want to read. That feeling of calm is priceless. When you clear away paper piles, you're not just tidying up, you're reclaiming peace. Every sheet you let go of gives you more room for what truly matters: laughter with family, a quiet meal, or simply the serenity of a clear surface. After 60, life is too precious to waste it sorting through yesterday's mail. It's time to let go of the stacks and make room for today's joys. Number 3, overloaded walls and shelves. Walk into any home and you can tell a lot about the people who live there just by looking at the walls and shelves. Photos, souvenirs, trophies, and trinkets are often displayed proudly, each with a memory or story attached. But sometimes, in the desire to keep every memory alive, the walls and shelves become so full that, instead of celebrating those moments, they drown each other out. Too many decorations can make a home feel busy, overwhelming, even smaller than it really is. What once was meant to bring joy can quietly turn into visual clutter. It's easy to understand how this happens. Over the years, collect family portraits, artwork from children or grandchildren, vacation souvenirs, and gifts from loved ones. Each piece seems important in its own right, so you hang it or place it on display. But little by little, the blank space disappears. Shelves sag under the weight of keepsakes. Walls are covered corner to corner. And instead of highlighting your treasures, the overload hides them in plain sight. The eye has nowhere to rest, and the home loses its sense of calm. I once visited a woman who loved collecting figurines. At first, she had a small glass shelf where she displayed her favorite 5 pieces. Over the years, she added more and more until that single shelf became 5 different cabinets, each overflowing. She admitted she didn't even notice individual pieces anymore. They had all blurred together. When she decided to keep only the ones with the deepest meaning, she said she felt a wave of relief. For the first time in years, she could actually enjoy the beauty of what she had. That's the secret many people miss. Less can actually mean more. When you choose just a few pieces to highlight, they stand out. A single striking painting on a wall draws the eye in a way that 10 smaller frames never could. One shelf with a carefully chosen photograph, a candle, a souvenir from a special trip can tell your story far more clearly than a crowded row of objects. By giving your items room to breathe, you give your memories the respect they deserve. If you're not sure where to start, try this simple approach. Pick 1 or 2 items from each category. Photos, artwork, mementos, and put the rest away. You don't have to throw them all out. You can rotate them every few months. That way, your home always feels fresh, and every memory gets its moment in the spotlight. Clearing the walls and shelves isn't about erasing your past. It's about creating a space that feels peaceful, open, and welcoming. Today, after 60, your home should reflect the calm and joy you've worked so hard to earn, not the weight of everything you've ever collected. By simplifying what you display, you invite serenity back into your space, and you give yourself the gift of truly seeing and appreciating what matters most. Number 4, clothes you don't wear anymore. Open your closet and take a look inside. How many of the clothes hanging there are actually worn on a regular basis? For many people, especially after 60, the answer is surprisingly small. Closets tend to hold on to the past. Outfits from special occasions, clothes that no longer fit, styles that once felt perfect but now feel outdated. Over time, these unused pieces build up, filling valuable space and making it harder to find the clothes you actually love and wear today. What should feel like a simple choice? Getting dressed can start to feel overwhelming simply because of the clutter. There's a certain emotional pull to clothing. A jacket might remind you of your first big job. A dress might hold memories of an anniversary dinner years ago. A suit might carry the pride of a wedding or an important event. Letting go of these items can feel like letting go of the moments attached to them. But here's the truth, the memory lives within you, not inside the fabric. Keeping clothes you no longer wear doesn't bring those moments back. It only takes away from the joy of the present. I once spoke with a man who had 3 full closets, though he admitted he rotated between the same handful of outfits every week. When asked why he kept the rest, he said, "They remind me of who I used to be." After some reflection, he realized that who he is now is no less important, and his current life deserves a closet that matches it. He donated most of the clothes, keeping only a few pieces that still made him feel good. The next time he opened his closet, he said he felt lighter, more in control, and surprisingly more confident. The truth is, holding on to clothes you don't wear can be a quiet form of self-neglect. It's like telling yourself that the person you are today isn't as valuable as the person you once were. But the opposite is true. You've grown, you've lived, and you've earned the right to dress in a way that reflects your current self. Imagine a closet filled only with clothes that fit comfortably, that flatter you, make you feel at ease the moment you put them on. Dressing becomes less about searching and more about enjoying. The best place to start is simple. Ask yourself, does this fit me today? Does it make me feel good now? If the answer is no, it may be time to let it go. Pass it on to someone who can use it. Donate it to a cause you care about, or recycle it responsibly. Be surprised at how much joy comes from opening a closet that finally feels like it belongs to you. Today, in this chapter of life, clearing away clothes you don't wear anymore isn't about losing your past. It's about respecting your present. And after 60, that's exactly where your focus should be, living fully in the now, free from the weight of what no longer fits your life. 5. Outdated or broken items. Every home has them. The broken lamp that hasn't lit up in years, the radio with a missing knob, the blender you swore you'd fix someday but never did. Then there are the outdated items, the old TV that no longer works with modern cables, the cell phone gathering dust in a drawer, the stacks of VHS tapes with no player to watch them on. At first, keeping these things feels harmless. After all, they're tucked away or sitting quietly in a corner. But slowly, they build up, and before you know it, home feels weighed down by objects that serve no real purpose anymore. There's a strange attachment we form with broken and outdated items. We tell ourselves, I might fix it one day, or it still has value because I paid good money for it. But if we're honest, most of these things will never be repaired or used again. They end up taking space not just in our rooms, but in our minds. Every time you walk past that broken chair or see that outdated gadget, it's a tiny reminder of something undone, a task unfinished. Instead of giving comfort, quietly creates stress. I remember visiting a couple who had a large entertainment system in their living room, built decades ago to hold a bulky television, cassette player, and stereo. Now, all of those devices were either broken or obsolete, yet the cabinet still dominated the space. When they finally decided to let it go and replace it with a smaller, modern stand for their flat-screen TV, the entire room transformed. They were amazed at how open and current their home suddenly felt. What they thought was just furniture turned out to be a weight they didn't even realize they were carrying. The same principle applies to everyday items. Cracked dish you think you'll glue someday, the clock that's been stuck at 2:15 for years, outdated electronics you no longer know how to use. None of them bring you joy or serve you now. They only collect dust and occupy precious space. And after 60, your home should not be a museum of what used to work. It should be a sanctuary filled with things that actually support your life today. Letting go of these items can be empowering. You don't lose anything by discarding what's broken. You gain room for what's useful. You don't dishonor your past by removing outdated objects. You create space to embrace the present. A home filled only with working, relevant items feels lighter, fresher, and far easier to maintain. So ask yourself, is this item serving me now? Or is it holding me back? If it's the latter, it's time to release it. You'll discover that when the broken and outdated are gone, your home becomes not just cleaner, but more alive. And most importantly, it begins to reflect the vibrant, capable person you are today, not the weight of things left behind. Number 6, gifts you kept out of guilt. Gifts have a special way of tugging at our hearts. They're given with love, thought, and care, and so we often feel a strong obligation to keep them, no matter what. Here's the tricky part. Sometimes we end up holding on to gifts that don't suit us, don't fit in our homes, or don't bring us joy at all. Maybe it's a sweater in a color you'd never wear, a decorative item that clashes with your style, or a kitchen gadget that has sat untouched in its box for years. Instead of letting them go, we keep them out of guilt, afraid that discarding them would somehow dishonor the person who gave them. And over time, these unwanted gifts quietly become part of the clutter weighing down our homes. What many people forget is that the true gift was never the object. It was the thought, the moment of kindness, the gesture of care. The love you received from the person who gave it is not tied to the physical things sitting on your shelf. Keeping an item you don't need doesn't make you more grateful, and letting it go doesn't erase the sentiment behind it. In fact, when you hold on to gifts purely out of guilt, you may even start resenting them. Instead of smiling when you see that vase or that piece of clothing, you sigh because it reminds you of something you don't use. That's not honoring the gift. That's trapping yourself in obligation. I once knew a woman who had an entire cabinet filled with teacups, most of them gifts from friends and relatives over the years. She didn't even drink tea, but she felt guilty about parting with them, so they sat there collecting dust, taking up space. Eventually, she decided to keep just 2 cups that held special meaning and donated the rest. When she told me about it later, she said she finally felt free, and that the friends who gave her those cups would probably be much happier knowing she had passed them on to someone who could actually enjoy them. This is the mindset shift that makes all the difference. Letting go of a gift doesn't mean letting go of the person. The connection you have with the people in your life is not dependent on an object. It lives in the conversations you've shared, the memories you've built, the love that still exists between you. A gift served its purpose the moment it brought you joy when you received it. After that, you have the right to decide whether it belongs in your life long term. Imagine how much lighter your home could feel if you only kept the gifts that truly make you smile or serve a purpose in your daily life. Item would reflect joy rather than guilt, choice rather than obligation. And isn't that the kind of freedom you deserve now? After 60, your home should be a place of comfort, not a warehouse of things you feel guilty about keeping. By releasing those gifts that no longer fit your life, you're not letting anyone down. You're simply making space for a home that celebrates who you are today. Your home should be your sanctuary, not your storage unit. Every time you let go of something that no longer serves you, you're making space for peace, for beauty, and for life as it is today, not as it once was. After 60, you've earned the right to live light, free, and surrounded only by what lifts your spirit. Because in the end, clutter-free home isn't just about appearance. It's about creating a space where you can breathe deeply, move freely, and live fully. Thank you